Man, I'm so excited to see what God has for us today, how He continued to challenge and work and move in my own heart and my life. I had a really great week. Did you have a great week?
Yes.
Man, I spent some great time with my kids. I have two little ones. Morgan is 4 and Marley is 2. And man, we just had a great, it's just one of those weeks where you just kind of, you're busy, but you find time anyways to really spend it with your kids and spend time thinking. And you get in those moments, if you're a parent, you kind of know this, where all of a sudden you just zone out and you're kind of looking at your kids and thinking, wow, it's just awesome to see your kids grow. I can still remember back the moment when Marley, my 2-year-old, was born. And it's kind of, as a parent, that's something that's kind of infused in your soul, and all the emotions and the things you think of when they're born. And I can just remember being in the hospital and Marley coming, to the world, and I can remember her hanging upside down in her first view of the world, and first view of her dad. Man, that was a scary view. Upside down looking at me. Her first picture of the world, and just kind of being in awe of, wow, she is now beginning a journey, and all that her life is going to hold, and the times I'm going to get to spend with her. I still can hear her cry. It resembled the sound of some kind of wounded bird. I think, wah, wah. It was all. We could tell Marley from all the other babies in the nursery, because she didn't really cry. She just kind of called. I don't know what it was about it, but it was music to my ears. It was something to Dad that changed me. Even her cry, and before I got to, as parents. After 3 weeks of hearing the cry, it doesn't sound so beautiful anymore. But in that first moment, man, it was awesome. I'm like, oh, my kid is here. And she's able to begin her journey of growing. And, it's so fun to see how they do that process, how kids grow and they learn. Marley is she is blessed with the spirit of her mother. And she, I don't know if you call it a blessing, but with the outgoing loudness of her father. God help her. She is our energy child, and sometimes that process of seeing your own kids grow up, it can be a painful experience too, when you see so much of yourself in your own child, So, but it's just cool to see how they interact. And Morgan and Marley, little sisters or little siblings have this ingrained way of learning, don't they? They copy everything. Man, immediately, Marley, if Morgan jumps off the ottoman onto my lap, boy, you better believe I am getting ready for Marley to follow. If you're not ready, you're in trouble, They jump right in your, and if I throw Morgan up in the air, who's next? Man, Daddy, throw me, and just copies, and how they just learn and grow and understand all these things. And as she grows up, it's just becoming more and more evident to me and pronounced in her living that she wants to learn how to do things on her own, I think we all go through that process. We want to do stuff on our own. Always, I can do it, Dad. No, I can crawl into the car seat on my own, Dad. No, I can do it, Dad. And somehow, and I don't know if it happened overnight or what, but she moved from complete dependency to beginnings of independence, It's like this flash, and all of a sudden, she's wanting to do stuff on her own. Last Christmas, we bought our kids this big train circus set thing. It's wooden, and it's this big elaborate thing, and the kids just loved it, man. They came down the stairs and saw this gift, out there, and they played with it for days and days and days, and just loved it. Marley especially loved this train set, But after about a week, you know how it kind of goes. It loses its luster, So we have a tactic in our house where we, once it starts to lose luster, we put it away in a bin in hopes that, a week or 2 months down the road, they'll notice it and think, oh, that's cool, if they don't see it for a while. So we did that. It lost its luster. We put it in its bin and kind of hoped a few weeks later that she'd get it. Well, last week was that time. Marley was playing in the playroom, got one of the bins out, and all of a sudden she saw that thing. It was like a light bulb going off. Oh, yeah, I remember that thing. And now it's not all put together. It's all in a big pile in the bin. So she gets going. You can see the motivation on her face. She grabs these pieces, and she starts trying to click them together and put them all together. And she is just excited and motivated. And, as her dad, I'm sitting on the couch watching her do this. And I'm, having this urge to want to swoop in and grab the pieces and put it together, just for the sake of saving her what's going to happen, because, boy, let me tell you, on Christmas Eve there was great weeping and gnashing of teeth with that gift. It's one of those that, so I knew it wasn't going to be easy for her to put this thing together, but I kind of saw the look on her face and thought, if I go try to do that, all I'm going to get is a scowl and a, no, Daddy, I can do it myself. So I thought, well, I just kind of conceded to kind of watch her do that, And just seeing her locked in on that thing. Our motivation, her whole will was bent on putting that together, and all things around her were out of focus, Her sister came in and Morgan wanted to help her, and I was right. No, Morgan, give me that back, She held her and grabbed that thing back, and she wanted to do it herself, and on she went. Heather even said, Marley, do you need to go potty? And just complete ignoring, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And more attempts from Morgan to help, and just on and on. She went with this focus, on her task at hand. I began to, as I watched her, see myself so much of the time. This mantra of our world coming to life in myself and in others and how we live, that, if we want something that we're taught from so early on, if we want something, or if we need power, or if we need success, or whatever it is, that we learn to do it ourselves, don't we? We are, man, of my own skills, my own talents, my own abilities, I'm going to get this thing done, and my motivation oftentimes clouds the rest of the world, Somebody comes in and says, well, let me help you a little bit with this, and get away from me, I can do it whether I say that or not, or I just keep plugging along and doing it. And that's what the world says, we got to do it ourselves. And it's awesome to see how God begins to come in, and like that day, you kind of said, you know what, John, my wisdom is opposite of that. My wisdom says, my kingdom come in your life. My will be done, not yours. So often we develop this my kingdom come, my own personal kingdom come on earth mindset in our lives. And it keeps us and blinds us from seeing how we can live in the midst of God's power in our life. God's power of heaven here on earth now. As Marley motivations, they kept her from seeing what was around her and kind of what was going on. I began to see her rising difficulty. If you know your kids, you can read their face, you can read their expressions. And I thought, well, she has moved from confidence, I got this licked, to, I could almost see her shaking. She started to get frustrated, and I could see in her actions, she grabbed more, frantically grabbed more pieces. No, that one doesn't work, no, that one doesn't work. And just faster and faster. And I thought, oh, this is not going to turn out good for that train set, I'm like, man, that thing is in trouble. And she just go faster and faster. I saw the frustration. I was kind of trying to imagine what was going on in her head, that maybe she was, why isn't this working? Why can't I do this? Why doesn't it fitting together like I want it to fit together? Why won't it come together like it's supposed to, Like this perfect dream in my mind, and almost to the point of wanting to scream, And that's what happened. It kind of moved from this panic of I can't do it and I'm frustrated, and all of a sudden, man, the pressure built to a point and she just blew, She took a piece and flung that toy across the play table just in a fit of frustration and anger. She couldn't do it, She threw it across there and just fed up with it. And I thought, well, that seems familiar too. In our own life, as we go and do our thing, and we go from frustration to anger, and a lot of times we spew our anger upon people in our lives, or God even. Man, why is that working out? Why can't I do that, What's wrong with you? I'm making me incapable of being able to accomplish something in my life,